Samsung's new phones and their new Android skin called One UI have been getting a lot of praise lately. So in this video, we're going to run through One UI in depth. Now, something to note before we dive in, I'm going to try and be as objective as I can be when going through these different applications on the phone and different UI elements. I do have my own thoughts on One UI, but I'm going to save those for the conclusion. And the last thing to note, I have time codes for all this stuff in the description down below, so feel free to jump around the video. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, One UI, and I don't know if you can tell this already, but I'm using Nova Launcher, not Samsung's default launcher. I do this on all my Android phones. It's not unique to Samsung, but you still have to interact with the skin that whatever manufacturer puts on top of it, even if you're using your own launcher. Which is kind of the point of this video. So let's start off with something that you're going to use every day, the status bar, and then also the settings menu. So let me pull my phone a little bit closer to the camera to help you see it better. I have the dark mode turned on, so you've got that black status bar up top, and the notifications here are gray. They're like that for every app. It might be kind of hard to see, but you have rounded edges at the top and the bottom. When they stack, it just looks like a big gray blob, and you still get the rounded edges at the bottom. Now, one thing I don't like about the status bar, we don't get the brightness right away. If we slide down a second time, we will get that brightness slider at the bottom of the screen, so it's easier to touch with one hand, unlike stock Android where it's at the top. And how Samsung did that, you can see we've got this really fat clock element there at the top. And that's kind of the theme that they stick with throughout the UI. They have a big element or title at the top to push everything else down, so it's easier to reach with one hand. Now, jumping into settings, so you can see how this plays out throughout the UI. We get a lot of content there on screen, but we can slide down. Now that stuff that was at the top of the screen is a lot easier to reach with one hand with our thumb there. And you just get this big settings title. And you can see that they're trying to keep some consistency going. Just like with the notifications, we have these gray, rounded edge tiles there. Next up, the default text messaging app. Now, I use Textra on all of my phones, but in case some of you guys out there use the default app, I wanted to show that off to you. You can see we still get this fat title at the top, which makes all the content really reachable initially. Once you start scrolling, then that content gets pushed up, so you fill more screen with actual items. Alright, next, volume controls. Now, if I push the volume button here, you can see that I'm getting kind of a contextual menu. It's only showing me media, it's not showing me anything else, so it's trying to guess what I want. And this part's going to be really hard to show on camera because it took me a while to even see it in real life. But if I bring this closer to the camera, once I push down there on the volume, you can see this tiny little notch at the bottom of that bar. If you slide that down, now you get access to everything. And that seems really odd to me because so far the entire point has been one-handed accessibility, right? Well, try reaching that menu with one hand. And you guys know I've got pretty big hands, pretty long fingers, and I can't even reach that with one hand without being awkward. And I don't know if that was intentional or just an oversight, because think about it, you're going to work, school, church, whatever, you're probably going to be silencing your phone a lot, and now you need to use two hands to do that, to jump into that menu. And if you mess up, as you saw I just did, you'll slide down the status bar instead. Next, recent apps. And you can see you've got this default stock Android look with the recent apps there. But what Samsung did is they gave you the close all button there at the bottom instead of all the way over on the left side. A nice little search there on the top, and apps that it thinks you're going to want to use at the bottom of the screen. So if you've been in an app recently or you use it all the time, it's going to try to guess which app you want to be in case it's not showing up there on your recent apps menu. Pretty handy feature. Moving right along, clock and calendar. I'm going to group these into one because they are default apps. If you use it for your alarm clock, for example, like I do, you're going to be using this all the time. And here's what the UI looks like. You can't slide it back and forth. Again, we've got the consistent big bar there at the top to push everything else down, make it easier to reach with one hand. And the UI is overall fine. It's not my favorite. You can't slide back and forth. You have to push it down here at the bottom, but hey, it is what it is. Just to show you guys, if I click on an alarm here, that's what your menu looks like. There's nothing really special about this. They do give you this little calendar icon there on the top right, so you can set an alarm for a specific date. Say that I know I need to get up early 2 weeks from now, but I can't go that far ahead, just going Monday through Friday or whatever. It's a cool little touch there. And over here we get the stock calendar widget. I've got the dark theme turned on like I mentioned earlier, so that's why this is dark. We tap on that there. You can choose your view when you jump into it, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever. This is the week view. Push that hamburger menu over on the side. You can jump to month if you wanted to. I really like the look of it overall. It looks really clean in my opinion. Nothing too fancy about it. Down here at the bottom you can create a new event, and that's what that UI looks like there. Again, pretty standard stuff here. We're going to group these next two together again. We're looking at the gallery app as well as ads. So the gallery app, this is the default view. As soon as you open it up, you can jump to different albums and things there at the bottom. And again, if you slide down, you get this nice little menu at the top. You can jump between some different things, but it also makes that top row a lot easier to reach with one hand. Just to show you that again, can't really reach it there. Now I can. So we've got a pretty consistent look and feel everywhere except for that volume menu where I couldn't reach that with one hand, but Hopefully that'll be fixed in a future update. Now the reason I'm lumping in ads with the gallery is I took some screenshots of Samsung's default browser. When you first boot the phone up, it's going to ask your permission to show you ads. I forget the exact wording they use, it's a little bit more elegant than just, hey, can we show you ads, but that's essentially what they're saying. So I denied that access immediately, but I've been using Samsung's default browser, and I got this little pop-up at the bottom of the screen. So you guys probably can't read this on the camera, so let me read it for you. It says, quick suggest, get exclusive deals, see reviews, and compare products while you shop online. Try it out now. There's no X to exit out, you can't swipe that away, your only option is to hit try it out now. I did try closing out of the browser and opening it back up, but within minutes, it showed me this again. So since your only option is try it out now, I went ahead and clicked on that, and here's what I was met with. This add-ons page, and you can see Amazon Assistant there at the top, and Quick Suggest down at the bottom. So I went ahead and ticked Quick Suggest, and here's the menu that I was met with. By turning on Quick Suggest, you agree to blah 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 and receive personalized shopping recommendations from Samsung Internet. That's an ad, and you're probably thinking, you know what, whatever. I clicked try it out now, back out of it once, not that big a deal, and that's what I thought too, so I did it, and guess what, within another day, I'm not exaggerating, less than a day, it popped up again. Now, I don't know if a certain site triggers that or what, but it is there. I wanted to make you aware of it because this is a very expensive phone. I think it's inexcusable with a phone like Xiaomi, which costs half the price of this one. This one, $1,000 phone. Like, what the hell are you doing, Samsung? And the last thing with One UI, the animations and overall performance. And I think this is illustrated best by the lock screen. So locking the screen there, using the in-screen fingerprint scanner, let's try to unlock it. No match? There we go, got it on the second try. Did you see that screen lag there? Let me show you again. Only works about 50% of the time. And you saw that screen flicker right there. Hopefully on the camera there's this flicker or stutter or lag. Call it whatever you want. I do have reduce animations turned on in the settings, and I have the animation speed turned down to half in the developer options. So I'm really not sure if it's an animation issue or a Samsung issue. But as you could hopefully see there on camera, the screen flickered and it gave you like this bum bum when you were unlocking the phone. And the reason I'm highlighting that specifically, and I want to tie this into my summary, is that kind of gives you the overall idea of what One UI has been like. Time to wrap this one up and get to my conclusion. So One UI I can actually summarize pretty simply. I think it's just a new version of TouchWiz. Like, you get some cool features, you get a cool new UI, especially if you have smaller hands, you know, the one-handed use. I really like what they did there, but it just doesn't feel well optimized. And maybe you're thinking to yourself, you know what, it's unoptimized, I get it, but it's version 1.1, that'll come with time, which is definitely a fair counterpoint. But TouchWiz, we said the same thing. We said the same thing with Samsung Experience, and now we're saying the same thing with One UI. And maybe you're sitting there going, you know what, this argument is stupid. That's completely fair too. But if you're coming from a Xiaomi or a OnePlus device, which in my opinion are the two best optimized skins on Android, it's something you're definitely going to notice. Now, this is something I can go into more detail on, but I'm trying to keep from rambling in this video. So if you're interested in that and you disagree, leave me a comment down below. I see all my comments, I reply to them all, so I would definitely respond to you. And I'm interested in the discussion. You know, why do you like One UI? Why am I wrong? Or why do you think I'm right? Don't forget to subscribe down below. I'll be posting a review of the Galaxy S10 Plus here very soon if you want to see my full thoughts on One UI on a Samsung device. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I'm trying to build a community here, so leave a comment down below. I do reply to all my comments. I really want to hear what you guys think and your thoughts on One UI, especially if you have a Samsung phone already. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.